we have to address the elephant in the room, okay? Because the Dodgers are one of the best regular season teams for the last decade, okay? But once October hits, they're a completely different team in the postseason, and they can't figure out how to win.
Alex, let's call it how it is. They're great in the regular season. The Dodgers are one of the best teams in the regular season that we have ever seen for the course of a decade. But let's call it for what it really is. The Los Angeles Dodgers are playoff chokers. They are. And there's no way around it at this point. I mean, historically bad.
Yeah.
The second worst record over the last 3 years in all of postseason baseball of any team. And this is a team that's typically coming in as a 1 or a 2 seed. Yeah. There was the year that the Giants ended up beating them out in the division and they ended up getting in as a wild card. But they're typically a 1 or a 2 seed. And they have one of the worst records in all of Major League Baseball over the last few years.
Yeah.
And again this year, I mean, look, trust me, I am going to give my Dbacks some credit. But right now, what I want to talk about is just an utter collapse again from the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I've been sitting here for months saying the problem with the Dodgers is they're going to get into the playoffs. They're a great regular season team, but they don't have the pitching to win in October. And now guess what? One of the worst pitching performances we have ever seen in the history of baseball in a postseason. 4.2 innings pitched by the starting pitchers. Total.
In 3 games.
4.2 innings pitched, Alex, in 3 games combined.
Yeah.
That's the worst in postseason history. 25.07 ERA for the starters.
I mean, it was way worse yesterday. That was only because Lance Lynn brought that ERA down quite a bit.
Lance Lynn brought the postseason every day. You had Clayton Kershaw at like 162 ERA.
Yep.
Bobby Miller goes an inning and 2/3. And oh my God, our ERA is now like 40-something. And now Lance Lynn goes out and doesn't throw hardly. Lance Lynn throws like 3 innings. And it's like, look at our ERA now. It's 20. And
it's so
25.07, the worst in postseason baseball. So, Alex, you can't win when you're not pitching well. And then you look on the other side of things and you ask, how did the Dodgers get swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks? Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman went 1 for 21 at the plate.
Mookie Betts went hitless.
Mookie Betts went hitless.
He was an MVP favorite. Went hitless.
They both are. Mookie and Freddie they're both going to finish in the top 4 in the MVP voting, and they went 1 for 21 with a little rinky-dink single from Freddie Freeman was the one hit. The Dodgers had 4 players record 100-plus RBIs this season. Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, JD Martinez, Max Muncy. Those 4 players, Alex, combined for 1 RBI in the NLDS. I haven't really seen this ever. And the Orioles did it this year, right? That's the first time they got here.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the level of success over the course of a decade in a regular season that I've seen from the Dodgers. And I called them, I said it earlier during the regular season. I said what the Dodgers are is they're a regular season dynasty. And that was a little bit of shade at the time, but it's also like, come on, guys. It gets frustrating. It almost gets to the point where it's inexplicable. You know, you can't explain.
Unexplainable. It's weird.
Yeah, you can't explain what happens to Clayton Kershaw in the playoffs. You can't explain how Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman can combine for 1 hit in the playoffs, and Mookie Betts goes hitless in the entire playoffs. You can't explain how they end up with a 25 ERA as a pitching staff and throwing less innings combined than any starting pitching staff over 3 games in the postseason ever in baseball. What is it? What is it with the Dodgers? You got to look in the mirror here and say, okay, at a certain point, winning over 100 games in the regular season every single year doesn't matter because we're not able to turn that into anything. Not just a World Series. They can't even turn it into a playoff win at this point. They've combined for 1 playoff win in the last 2 years. So you got to look in the mirror. You got to question what the hell is going on there? You got to question everybody. You got to question Dave Roberts. You got to question the pitching. You got to question the pitching coach. You got to question the GM, because what you're trying to do is build a World Series champion. You're not trying to build a team that in the regular season nobody wants to play because they're scared of. Because guess what? That team that everybody's scared of in the regular season, at this point, they're excited to play them in the postseason because they know they ain't going to win.
No, and we heard Diamondbacks leader, rookie sensation, MVP CC talk about it before heading into this series. He said, we know who the Dodgers are. We know what they're not. Don't count us out. And then they completed the sweep.
Alex, yeah, absolutely right. The Diamondbacks scored 6 runs in the first inning of this series.
Yeah.
The Dodgers scored 6 runs total in this entire series.
Honestly, I'm surprised it was 6 runs total. Like, I would have thought it was less.
Mookie Betts talking after the game said, I did absolutely nothing to help us win.
Yeah.
It is to the point where it's everybody just scratches their head, right?
Yeah.
Dodgers fans of baseball. It's, like whether you love them or you hate the Dodgers, it really doesn't make sense how this continues to happen year in and year out. One year, sure, we see that all the time, right?
Yeah.
A great team loses early. But to do it over the course of a decade as often as they've done it, they've been one of the worst teams in postseason baseball over the course of a decade, where they've been the best team in baseball in the regular season. And that is something you got to look in the mirror with and deal with, because, again, you're not trying to win in the regular season. You're trying to do enough in the regular season to get to the postseason and win there.
Yeah.
And they're not doing that.
Well, let's transition and talk about the team who pulled off the biggest upset this postseason. You've been talking about them since before this season started. You were asked, what is your season prediction? What's your bold take, right? Your bold take was watch out for those Dbacks.
Well, I was asked by myself. I asked the question in December of 2022. So before this season even got close to kicking off, I said, what is a team, here's the tweet right here. What is a team that you think could be sneaky good in 2023? And I said, I'll start the Arizona Diamondbacks. That was in December of 2022.
Take your bow.
Thank you.
Take your bow.
Thank you. I sure get enough shit when I don't do something well, so I'm going to say it when I do something well, all right? And now here we are, and the NLDS and the Diamondbacks are advancing, beating their division rival, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and heading to the NLCS.